Hello guys, it's Ironhawk and welcome back. In today's video we're taking a look at another Bannerlord update, and today it's actually that Tailworlds have released Bannerlord on Steam. Now please don't be misled and presume that Bannerlord is now available to buy on Steam, because it isn't. They've just released things like the specs and just a lot of more information on the game and a nice little description and a few more screenshots as well, amongst a few other things. Now first of all, you're going to want to take a look at the Steam page. Now if you want to take a more detailed look at it, make sure to check the description for the link. So we're going to be looking at the Steam page and taking a quick analysis of it, I suppose you could say. So first of all, we have some screenshots that may or may not have been released, I'm not entirely sure. I know some of the Siege gameplay screenshots have been released already, however some of these ones, such as the one in the market, you can see what the atmosphere is going to be like in the game. Just look how bustling that market looks and how detailed those shops are. Just the general atmosphere seems so authentic to the medieval times. Also, the shops aren't exactly organised, and I love how they're not laid out perfectly. It's all kind of jumbled up with just stuff all over the place. Now I'm 99% sure I've seen this screenshot before, however it does allow us to see how you select your siege equipment and what the castle will look like when it's under siege, for example the 3 catapults surrounding it. Also, we have 3 options on the left hand side. You have request a parley, sally out and leave the settlement. Obviously this is a wider range than we had for Warband, and I can't wait to see how those play out. The next screenshot shows us a rearing horse with what looks like a battalion on the back of it with that 2-handed sword, and also the horse armour looks absolutely impeccable, and just the detail in general, especially on the grass and trees, again looks phenomenal. So that's it for the screenshots I haven't seen. You may or may not have seen them before, however I personally haven't seen them before. Next up we have a small description of the game, and it reads: the horns sound, the ravens gather, an empire is torn by civil war beyond its borders. New kingdoms rise, gird on your sword, don your armour, summon your followers and ride forth to win glory on the battlefields of Calradia. Establish your hegemony and create a new world out of the ashes of old. Now that sounds pretty good if you ask me. That is a really good description by Tailworlds, and I'm very impressed. As we go down the page we can see the Bannerlord is going to be an RPG, strategy, action, simulation and a medieval game, as we expected. Now we're getting into the big main text. So it describes Bannerlord as being set 200 years before the main events in Warband, and it expands both the detailed fighting system and the world of Calradia. You can establish secret criminal empires in the back alleys of cities, or charge into the thick of chaotic battles in your quest for power. It then goes on to describe the siege gameplay, and it reads: construct, position and fire a range of heavy machinery in sieges that will test your wits and skill like never before. Experience epic sprawling combat across ramparts and rubble as you desperately hold your castle or seek to seize one from the enemy. We saw this description reflected back when we had the first siege gameplay, and that was just so intense and it looked very good, and obviously Tailworlds would have looked to improve that in any way they can. So if you weren't impressed by some features in that, I'm sure they'll know about it and they would have fixed it, as they're very community focused, as we saw in Warband, and they always want to hear what their players want. Under the diplomacy section, it confirms that we'll be able to barter, which is a new system in Bannerlord in comparison to Warband. It gives other players flexibility in cementing deals instead of using money. You can have peace deals, and from marriage offers to treason pacts, offering all the options available to NPCs. So basically all the NPCs can do the same thing as you, which is particularly good for the immersion because you want to feel like you're actually part. There is also going to be a fully operational economy. You'll be able to see the availability of goods ebb and flow in the simulated feudal economy, where prices of things across the map can increase as well as fluctuate, depending on the supply and demand. So basically, if there's a lot of wheat being produced and sold, then the price overall of wheat will go down. And this can also happen the opposite direction. For example, gold is probably less abundant than wheat, therefore it's going to cost more. I really do like the idea of how prices of things can change across the map depending on how much of it is being made or how little of it is being made. You could actually influence enemy factions. For example, as preparation for a war against a faction, you could stop sending them supply wagons at all so they don't have any armor. For example, if you're one faction supplying a lot of armor to them and then you don't supply any, they're not going to be able to get any armor, and therefore their troops will be weaker. Now I don't know if that's how it's going to work, but that would be something absolutely amazing. This also allows relations to be increased. For example, you can bring grain to a starving town after a siege, or reopening a bandit-plagued caravan. The next section is on crafting. Now it reads that you can craft your own weapon, name it and carry it with you in the field of battle. A deep physics-based system gives each weapon you create a unique set of attributes, strengths and weaknesses. So you could kind of create a weapon that's okay at everything, or you could create a weapon that's extremely good at damage and not very good at speed, or something like that. So basically you can craft weapons depending on your playstyle. Also, you can take the sword of your enemy and brandish it as the trophy of your war, which could increase in-game things such as renown. Also, this could be very effective at bending other lords' wills to yours. For example, if you're carrying a sword of a defeated lord, and the defeated lord was very, very highly regarded and renowned for being very good at fighting, and other lords see that you have his sword, it's not going to send a message to them that they should rebel against you and fight you, because you've killed a lord that's particularly renowned for being very good at fighting, therefore their chances are looking very slim. The next section is about modding. Now this is the most exciting bit for me because obviously we saw a lot of modding in Warband, and mods were probably the essence of Warband in my opinion, and they are my favourite parts. So it says the engine and the tools used to develop Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord are being made available to the community, so that modders can reinterpret Calradia or create their own worlds. Players can now combine different mods, making it easier than ever to play a game of your dreams. So we're going to be actually given access to the tools the developers used in order to create mods, which is extremely exciting, and any modders out there are going to be loving that. If you have any good ideas for mods, put them in the comments section below. I intend to make a mod video of what people want in the game, so maybe modders can watch it and then go ahead and make them, so make sure to leave a comment. The next section is on the engine, and it's described as one that offers a perfect balance of performance and graphical fidelity, and it's scalable with the power of your hardware. Now the last section is kind of what we've seen through the gameplay trailers, however it says experience Mount and Blade with a richer, more beautiful graphics than ever, immersing you in the world of Calradia, rendering the game's magnificent battles with equally spectacular detail. Now that point of optimization and rendering is something very important indeed, because as you know, the game involves a lot of AI bots, and when you have a lot of AI bots and it's badly optimized, it gets very laggy indeed. So hopefully Tailworlds will not make it laggy when you have a lot of bots in game. The last thing we're going to talk about is the system requirements. Now again, I don't really know much about computers, and then you can interpret this in however way you want. Now the minimum processor requirements is an Intel i3-2100 and an AMD FX 6300. The minimum RAM is 4GB, and the graphics is an Intel HD 4600 and a Nvidia GT 730 or an AMD R7 240. Now the storage will be 40GB available space, which is quite a lot. Now please note that these estimates may change during the final release. So guys, that basically wraps it up for the Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord Steam page, and they're kind of building up the momentum to the final release. Also, I'd like to say I have a Persistent World video coming out, which is a mod for Mount and Blade Warband, which involves huge wars and things like that, so make sure to look out for that in the coming days. Make sure to check the description for all the links you could possibly need, as well as giving this video a like to show your support. And finally, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. We are so close to 5,000 subscribers, and I just can't believe it. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.